And the thing about politicians is they're not interested in Mahabharata Ramayana. They're interested in capturing power. And they will say whatever it takes to capture the vote bank. Because in India, if you have votes, then you will have power. And if you have power, you can grab resources. And so they're not really interested in Krishna or Gita or Ramayana. I don't take them very seriously. I'm very scared of them because they're very dangerous. Hi, my name is Devdath Patnaik. I'm very excited to be part of KLF's Apostrophe podcast. I write on mythology.
Mr. Patnaik, a specialty of Indian mythology can be the variety that it provides. If you look at Mahabharata, there is no one single hero. Every hero has a tinge of villainy also. That is the beauty of Indian mythology. But in today's political scenario, mythology and interpretation of mythology have political impact also in the current scenario. How you can manage that?
So I write on mythology, not just Indian mythology. And what is unique about Indian mythology is deals with rebirth. And Indian mythology does not have the concept of hero and villain. So this is because we are now very westernized. We look at every story as a hero and a villain. So Krishna is not a hero. Ram is not a hero. They are considered divinities. And the question is, what makes us divine? And that is the conversation in the Mahabharata, in the Ramayana, is what makes us human, what makes us subhuman, what makes us divine. That's the conversation. The conversation is not about who is right and wrong, good and bad. So ideas like right, wrong, good, bad is like haram, halal, good, judgment day. Judgment day is a biblical concept. Qayamat is a biblical concept. These ideas do not exist in Mahabharata. They do not exist in Ramayana. So people confuse and they try to make everything the same. And the thing about politicians is that they're not interested in Mahabharata Ramayana. They're interested in culture, in capturing power. And they will say whatever it takes to capture the vote bank. Because in India, if you have votes, then you will have power. And if you have power, you can grab resources. And so they're not really interested in Krishna or Gita or Ramayana. So I don't take them very seriously. I'm very scared of them because they're very dangerous. But I'm a scholar. I'm interested in what the Mahabharata and Ramayana is trying to tell. And I'm very careful never to use words like hero, villain, victim. Because that's a very, the right wing, the left wing, they all use it. The socialists use it, the communists use it, the capitalists use it, because everybody likes being a victim. And they miss the point of the story. They're missing. That's not what Ramayana is saying. So, people love victims. Karna is a victim, Eklavya is a victim, subaltern, elite. These are very Western ways, binary ways of looking at it. And Ramayana and Mahabharata is not designed that way. It's a very different design.
Exactly, that was I was trying to ask you. So, for example, when Shakespeare looks at a point of view of a father's sorrow, he is looking at the father's sorrow. But when the saint, when Shakuntala is leaving, the saint's anxiety is not just for Shakuntala. He's worrying about the other fathers what's the impact of sorrow that the other fathers will have in the world. Even a saint like him has that much sorrow. What will a normal father will do? That's the kind of philosophy that is how epics are trying to say. It is, as you said, it's not just based on one individual or one person. So, but when we interpret Mahabharata or Ramayana, as you said, you will have to be very careful. It has political impact, as you rightly said. But when you analyze mythology, you will have to say something, right? When Gandhari is asking Krishna, you could have blocked this war. When you interpret that, whether you like it or not, it has a political impact now. How can we deal with that?
So everything has a political impact, right? You want to build furniture in your house, you have to cut trees, right? So a vegetarian who says, I'm a pure vegetarian, and he has wooden furniture in his house, he has the dead bodies of plants in his house, right? So he's eating on dead bodies. All wood is dead bodies of living organisms called plants. So there is no escaping violence. So everything is political. The act of eating is political because the moment you start eating, you are violent. which is why the old Jains and the Ajivikas would fast to death, because they say the only way to be truly non-violent is to fast to death, to not own property, to not wear clothes, to not eat food, and to fast to death. So that's the extreme way of thinking. So everything is so. Politics is a game. You know, human beings are not like animals. Like if you attack a dog, the dog will attack you. It is predictable. You know, animals are relatively predictable. A tiger will attack you if you step into its territory. Human beings can choose a response. I can choose to get upset and I can choose not to get upset. It's not an algorithm. There is no, like, if I make fun of Krishna, you don't have to get angry. There are many traditions in India where we make fun of gods. You will not find a tradition where you make fun of Jesus Christ. Nowadays, Bollywood does it, but it's doing through blasphemous, insulting ways. But in India, you have a tradition where Krishna can be made fun of, Ram can be made fun of, Shiva can be made fun of. If you go to Bengal, Odisha, Jatra festivals, there is a whole, Chakyar in Kerala has a whole repertoire where gods are made fun of. There is satire, there is jokes. So gods are living with us. We have a personal relationship with them. What do politicians and gurus do? They try to turn them into property and say, this is my property. So all the gurus are very dangerous people, because, the moment somebody says they're celibate, I get very nervous, because we start giving celibacy magical powers. You choose not to have a relationship doesn't make you special. So politicians are like that. Oh, I am a politician, therefore I know what will upset my people. And, these are games to manipulate power. And human beings we can forgive anything. We can accept anything. If your child comes and hits you, you don't get angry with your child. You don't put the child in jail. If the child comes and calls you something very awful, you don't say that today I will punish you and lock you up. But the Supreme Court will do that. Contempt of court, as the judges will say. So these are all dramatic statements. We are behaving like children nowadays and trying to control. We think that human beings are animals who have to be controlled, but we are quite capable of accepting a joke, of understanding other people's point of view, and having decent conversations without getting so frazzled.
When we come to mythology, as you said, we can have many interpretations on Mahabharata. The most popular ones in Malayalam are based on Karna. Inni Njan Urangatte is a famous book. It's an interpretation of Mahabharata through the eyes of Draupadi and Karna. So, if I ask you, which character's interpretation will be more?
So, interpretations does not tell you anything about the character. It tells you about the author, right? So, the author is now a lawyer. And what the author does is he behaves like a lawyer and is presenting a case in front of a judge, which is the reader. So there's a Karna's lawyer, Draupadi's lawyer, Krishna's lawyer, Duryodhan's lawyer. So all these books which are coming out, mythological fictions, are basically the authors putting their point of view. They are not interested in what the Vedas are trying to say. Mahabharata is Pancham Ved. They're trying to communicate a very deep idea, and that is what we should look for. What authors do is they're not interested in what Vyas is trying to communicate. While we say things like there are many interpretations, but it's our ego that is presenting the interpretation. We have to try to understand what is the story trying to communicate on its own. Why is Krishna, you have Ram and Ravan, and we say that both have positive and negative traits, but we worship Ram, not Ravan. And it is only now politicians who say that, oh, in these places Ravan is worshipped. No, Ram is worshipped as a form of the divine. And we have to understand, why are we calling a man who abandons his wife as divine? Nobody is a fool. You will never respect a person who abandons his wife. But yet we are saying, no, it is Purushottama. So we have to try to understand, why are the ancient people, what are they trying to communicate? Are we missing the point? When you become a lawyer or a judge, you miss the point. You don't understand what they are trying to communicate. And if you read the Shatapatha Brahmana, unfortunately the Vedic scriptures have not been translated enough. We have not translated the Brahmana literature, which is full of stories which are trying to explain what is violence, how does violence function in our society. So we say that, oh, Karna is a sad person, and but if you look at Karna's story, he is a charioteer who wants to become an archer. And Krishna is choosing to be a charioteer. He says being a charioteer is not an insult to your status. A job is a job is a job. Becoming a charioteer does not reduce Krishna's status. But being called a charioteer takes away Karna's status. So it is status anxiety. And it is this thing that, oh, if I'm a driver, I'm lesser than a Raja. Who made those rules? Ahankar made those rules. If Duryodhan thinks he's better because he's a charioteer, in our lives we have people working for us. If we think we are better than the people who clean our toilets, that's our ego. So there is no shame in cleaning the toilet, it's just a job. So that is what the Vedas are trying to say. So I am very wary of reinterpreting, reimagining mythological fiction, because as I say, a feminist will present her point of view, a socialist will present his point of view, a nationalist will present his point of view, a North Indian will present his point of view, a South Indian will present his point of view. But what is the Vedas point of view? I'm interested in what the Vedas are trying to communicate.
And if I take that example, if there is nothing wrong in being a charioteer, agree, but there is nothing wrong also if a charioteer wants to be an archer also, right?
Yes.
So when a charioteer wants to be an archer, or when a ruler, when a person like Duryodhana wants to have that power that his father has been deprived of because of his blindness, then what is wrong in it?
The thing is, we think going up is good, but going down is not good. So Nala Damayanti story, the king has to become a cook, and we see it as a tragedy. Right? The king, when a king becomes a cook, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Imagine if all the politicians in India became good cooks. It would have been such a lovely country. But we don't think like that. We think social mobility is upwards. We never come downwards. And we don't think about it. That we have gods who are cowherds, we have gods who are charioteers. And we lived, it's a caste-based society which did not allow social mobility. Today we live in the industrial revolution. We are a different society today. We talk about social mobility, women working out of the, we talk about women leaving home and going to the workplace. But how many men are comfortable leaving the workplace and coming home? It should be an equal journey. It can't be one direction. This unidirectional way of thinking is what destroys society. That there is one good place. Everybody should become Indra. That doesn't work like that. Somebody has to become the Bali and Asuras also. Otherwise the world won't. It has to move. Cyclically it has to move. Everything has to move. If everybody wants to go up, then you will create artificial intelligence to do all your labor. So, sometimes you have labor, sometimes you have leisure. Now, these are the questions that the Vedas are raising when they are telling you that Krishna is never king. Krishna is never king. Ram is king. Krishna is never aspiring to be king. So now that's a caste statement, very clear caste statement. Because these books were written at 2000 years ago when caste was the main thing. The question is, do you give dignity to caste labor? Do you respect people? This was missing in society. You see, your job is not who you are. By being a charioteer, Vishnu doesn't stop being Vishnu. But nobody is listening to that message. We are only listening to the message of, oh, how sad, Karna is so sad. And because we like feeling like Karna, right? The reader feels that I am like Karna. I am very talented, but nobody admires me. So you're reflecting your own insecurities into the character. You do not want to see what is going on, this game that is being played about power. And if you read the Bhagavad Gita, it is very clear. Krishna is saying, you're not fighting this for property. This is not a justice war. This is a Dharma war. Justice and Dharma are not the same thing. Justice is a Western concept. Judgment day. But in Mahabharata, Krishna gets cursed for establishing Dharma. It is the tree. When you cut the tree will curse you because you've killed me, but you want a table to eat your food. So all the trees curse us all the time, which is why we worship trees. Across Kerala, there are sacred groves. Those Naga temples were there in the old days because we knew the trees were alive. Those multiple hoods of the snake are really the tree's branches. So that is why snake and trees are considered to be together. But we have forgotten all this. We think non-violence is eating vegetarian food. This kind of lazy spirituality which is promoted by gurus is not what the Vedas are saying.
If I ask you to give one particular statement, one statement itself, how to interpret Indian mythology in a positive, creative and educative way to the new generation.
So you have to understand how nature functions. In nature, anything that eats has to get eaten. Right? So every animal and plant eats and gets eaten. Humans can feed and be fed. But what do? We want to eat, but we don't want to be eaten. We want to take food, but we don't want to give food. This is adharma. This is how, so if you understand food, you understand dharma. Anybody who talks about dharma with rules is not understanding Hindu mythology. You want to understand India, to understand food. Because we are food. Somebody is consuming us and we consume people. All of us are consumers. The question is, do you eat or do you get eaten? Do you feed or do you get fed?
Thank you.